Hello everyone, you're welcome to another live class on Mensuration. So we are going to start another session on the Mensuration. I want you to invite your friends so that we are going to start at the same time. Invite them, let them know the class is about starting. All right, and don't forget to get your writing materials ready, your biro and your calculator if need be, and also your book. All right, so and also don't forget, as you're joining the class, make sure you say hi and don't forget to tap the like button. And if today is your first time joining us, don't forget to tap the subscription button and the notification button. All right, okay, so let's just wait. In the next few seconds we are going to commence the class. Thank you very much. All right, good evening. You are welcome to class. Yeshutayo, you're welcome to class. Khalid, you're welcome to class. Demiladi, you're welcome to class. Okay, so yes, Divine, you're welcome to class. Okay, good evening, Divine. Welcome to class. All right. Okay, Sunday Samuel, you're welcome to class. Yeah, good evening. Good evening. Sunday Samuel, you're welcome to class. All right. Okay. So don't forget, as you are joining the class, ensure you greet the whole class and remember to tap the like button. All right. Okay. So we are starting with mensuration. Okay. So I've done that in my previous video. All right. So now what do we call mensuration? Mensuration is just a process of um, measuring or calculating the volume, the area, and the perimeter of a geometrical shapes. Okay, so what do we call geometrical shape? So I will just give you an example of geometrical shape. I hope you know that. So we have two types. We have the plane shapes, that's the 2D, and then we also have the solid shape. Okay, so in this class we are going to start with the plane shapes. Okay, so an example of a plane shapes is your rectangle, your square, your triangle, trapezium, and so on. Okay, so in today's class, we are going to be looking at, we will focus more on a quadrilateral. So, okay, so we look at the questions that surrounds a particular plane shapes, and that is a rectangle. Okay, so now let's start with that. So I have some set of questions that we are going to look at today, and just like I've said, for those of you that are just joining, ensure you get your writing materials ready. Okay, so now I'll quickly do a recap on the formulas that we need to know before we'll be able to solve the problems here. Now, let me start with the first one, which is rectangle. Rectangle is a plane shape. Okay, now rectangle looks like this. This is the length and this is breadth. Okay, the length is always longer than the breadth. So we can find the perimeter of this rectangle. So the perimeter of this rectangle is the addition of all the sides together. Okay, so now when you look at this, we have two lengths here and two breadths. So if I add everything together now, so I have two lengths plus two breadths. Okay, which is the same thing as your perimeter. So we have perimeter of rectangle is just factor out 2 here. So we have 2L plus B. So this is the formula for finding perimeter of a rectangle. All right. So the addition of all the sides. Or we just say, okay, the length of the boundary of it. Okay. So now how do we get the area? Now area is length times breadth. Now, the length times the breadth here gives us the area of this plane shape. Okay, so that's LB. So now, you keep this in your, write this and keep this in your jotter. Okay, so the formula for finding perimeter of a rectangle and also area of a rectangle. I hope you understand that. Now, don't forget, there are some properties you need to know about a rectangle. So we have angle here. Angles here are 90. So this is 90, 90, 90, 90. And the length here is the same thing as the length here. So they are equal. So opposite sides are what? Are equal. All right. So take note of that. So now quickly let me show you another type of plane shape, which I want to believe you are familiar with. So you have square. Okay. Square is a quadrilateral. That is a plane shape with 4 sides. And all the sides are equal. All the sides of a square are equal. So now the angle here is also 90. All right. So now we have, since all the sides are equal, so L here is the same thing as L here. So the breadth is the length. So to find the perimeter here, all you just need to do is just to add the 4 sides together. Since one side is L, so we have 4 sides here. So we have perimeter of a square is 4L. Okay, so we add the 4 sides together. Why the area will be L times L. So that's L squared. So this is the formula for finding area of a square, perimeter of a square. I hope you understand that. So please take note of this and keep that in your jotter. Okay. So now, can you give me more example of a plane shape? So I want you to drop that in the comment section. Just give me example of plane shape. So, but I'm giving you another one. Let's look at this. We have triangle. Now, okay, so while I'm doing this, you can drop other types of plane shapes. Let's see that in the comment section. So triangle looks like this. Okay, so the sides, we have side angle A, B, and C. This is side A, side C, and side B. Okay, we have heights ish. All right. Okay, so this is angle C, and this is the corresponding side. Angle B, corresponding side. Angle A, corresponding side. Okay, so now we can get the perimeter of this triangle. So what's the perimeter? You add the sides together, just like we did in the rectangle. So that means perimeter of a triangle, okay, equals to A plus B plus C. All right. So now we have several formula for area of triangles. So now let's look at some of them. So one, we have area is half base times height. Half base. Now base is this. Okay, this is the height. The height is always perpendicular to the base. Do you understand now? So in this case now, my base now is going to be A. Do you understand that? This is A, here to here. All right, half base times height. Okay, we can also have area to be half AB sine C, half AC sine B, and also we have half BC sine A. All right, these are another formulas Okay, why this one is angle C, angle B, angle A. So and we have this at the corresponding side. Okay, so now, so we have a lot of them. Okay, so once we're about solving questions that involve all of these, so we have to go through the formulas. Okay, so now let us go into today's problem. All right, so don't forget, write this one somewhere in your notes. So perimeter of a triangle is A plus B plus C, where A, B, C are the sides of the triangle. So we have the area to be this. So either this or this or this or that. Okay. All right. So now let us look at the question we have here. Now the question says the length of a rectangle is 3 centimeters more than its breadth. If the perimeter is 30 centimeters, find the dimensions. Find the area. So now can we sketch this? Now let's sketch this. So we have, this is the rectangle. Okay. Now we can start by saying let the breadth be equals to B. So if the breadth is B, so that means here we have B. Now what's going to be the length? Look at what the question says. The question says the length of a rectangle is 3 centimeters more than its breadth. That is, this is going to be breadth plus 3. Okay. Now B is more by 3. Breadth is more by 3. So that's what we have here. Okay, is that taken now? All right, so that's what the question is saying. Okay, so now the question now says, if the perimeter is 30 centimeters, so perimeter is 30 centimeters. So now we have to calculate the dimension. So we are going to start with the formula for finding perimeter of a rectangle. Okay, so we have perimeter of a rectangle equals to 2L plus B, length plus breadth. Okay, we just derived that not quite long. So now the perimeter here is 30. So just plug in 30 here. So we have 30 equals to 2. Now the length is B plus 3. So we have B plus 3 plus B. Okay, so what do you do next? You divide both sides by 2. So we have 30 over 2 equals to, now let's add this one together. We have 2B plus 3. So we have 2B plus 3. So this 2 is here now. Okay, so now when you divide this, you have 15 equals to 2B plus 3. All right, so now you can subtract 3 from both sides. So we have 15 minus 3 equals to 2B. Okay, so we have what? We have 12B. 12 equals to 2B. So here you divide both sides by 2. So when you do that, you have 12 over 2 equals to B. So B is what? B is 6 centimeters. So now, can you see now we have gotten one of the dimensions? B is 6 centimeters. So what's going to be the length? So the length is B plus what? B plus 3. That's going to be 6 plus 3. And that gives us what? 9 centimeters. All right. So now the question now go further. So we have gotten the dimension. So length is what? Is 9 centimeters. The breadth is what? 6 centimeters. So you can write that out. So that's the dimensions. Okay. So the next thing is the area. Area of a rectangle, that's length times breadth. Okay. So length times breadth. So we have length times breadth. That is the area. So we have area. Okay, so area equals to the length. What's the length? 9 times what is the breadth? We have 6. So, and what is going to be the answer? That is 48. All right. Okay, it's 6. Okay, so that is what would that give you? 48 centimeters square. Okay. So that is what we're going to have. All right. Okay. Okay. So now can we move on? Can we move on now? Okay. So is there any question based on what we have done? So if you have any question based on what we have done, so you can let me have that. So before we move on. Okay. So. Okay, so that's the answer. I think something is wrong with this. This one's supposed to be 54. Okay, this 54. Sorry for that. So this is supposed to be 54 and not 48. So 54. Okay. So any question based on what you just did now? If you have any question, any observation, please kindly drop in the comment section. Okay, okay. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Okay, thank you for your response. So can we move down to another question? Let's quickly move down to another question. The length of a rectangle, the length of a rectangle is 2x plus 3 in centimeter, and the breadth is x minus 1 in centimeter. Roman numeral 1, express the perimeter in terms of x. 2, express the area in terms of x. Okay, so and the third one, find the value of x if the area is 33 centimeter square. Okay, so now can we look at the next question here? Okay, so the question says the length of a rectangle is 2x plus 3 centimeter and the breadth is x minus 1 centimeter. So now you have to express the perimeter in terms of x. Now to express the area in terms of x, you have to find the value of x if the area is 33 centimeter squared. I hope we all understand the concept of the question. So now let us now see how we can express perimeter in terms of x. Now what should come to mind now is, what is the formula for calculating perimeter of a rectangle? That's what we are going to begin with. So now I start by saying perimeter of a rectangle, perimeter of a rectangle equals to 2 times length plus breadth. Okay, so now I need an expression for this, okay, in terms of x. That's what the question is asking for. So we have p equals to 2. So p is my perimeter. Now the length has been given. So what is the length in the question? The length is 2x plus 3. So we have 2x plus 3 plus, and what is the breadth? The breadth is x minus 1. So plus x minus 1. Everything in centimeter. So I have P equals 2. Now let me join this and this together. I have 3x. This and this gives you what? Plus 2. All right. Okay, so you can open the bracket. So we have P equals to 6x plus 4. Okay, so this is going to be the answer. 2 times 3x, we have 6x, 2 times 2, 4. So everything in centimeter. So this is going to be the answer to the first part of the question. All right, so now let's look at the second part. Now, the question says express the area in terms of x. So I need the formula for calculating area of a rectangle. So area is length times breadth. I hope you know that. Okay, so in this case now, the length has been given to be this. So I have, instead of writing L, I have 2x plus 3, okay, times now the breadth, that is x minus 1. All right, so let's simplify this. So you expand. So to expand this, now the first term here multiplies this. It also multiplies this one. Okay, can we do that now? So we have 2x times x. So that gives us 2x squared. Now this same 2x multiply negative 1, we have negative 2x. All right, now the next term here multiplies this and also multiplies this. Okay, can we do that now? 3 times x, we have plus 3x. Now 3 times negative 1, we have negative 3. Okay, so now you can see this term looks similar. So now this area now is going to be 2x squared plus x, because negative 2x plus 3x, that gives you 1x, so negative 3. So this is area. So the area is in centimeter square. So that is it in terms of x. That's the answer to that. Now let us look at the third part of the question. Okay, so now the question says that if the area is now 33, so you have to find the value of x. So now let's get the value of x. Now area is now 33. So now wherever we have a now, so we can plug in 33. So we have 33 equals to this. That's going to be 2x squared plus x negative 3. So that's what we have here. Okay, so now this is the same thing as 2x squared plus x negative 3. So this one, when it comes here, becomes negative 33. Now equals to 0. So we can write 2x squared plus x negative 36 equals to 0. So now you can see we now have a quadratic equation. We are quite familiar with that. So to solve this, I need to look for the sum and product. Then I find two numbers such that when you multiply together, it will give me the product, and then when added together, you have the sum. So now let's see what's the sum here and what is the product. So I want you to tell me that before we comment. So what's the sum, what's the product? So I want you to drop that in the comment section before we do the two numbers. So first, let me see the sum and product. Okay, so I want to believe every one of you know how to solve quadratic equations. So if you don't know how to solve quadratic equations, so you can go through my videos. I've done a lot of videos on solving quadratic equations. So you can go and listen and master, okay, how to solve quadratic equations. So now the sum and product. So have you dropped that in the comment section? the sum and product. So what's the sum? What is the product? Okay, so I can see plus 1, negative 72. Sum is negative 72 and the plus 1. Okay, good. All right, so that is correct. I can see good number of us doing that. So the sum is the coefficient of x here. So we have plus 1. While the product is the multiplication of the coefficient of x here and this. This one gives you negative 72. So this time around now, we need two numbers such that when you multiply together, you have negative 72. And when you add together, you have this. So I'm very sure by now you should have gotten the answer. You should have gotten the answer. I'm very sure of that. So what are the two numbers? When multiplied together, you have negative 72. Okay, so and when added, you have positive 1. So what are the two numbers? So if you have the answer, drop that in the comment section. Okay, so yes, is anyone dropping that before we move on? So what are the two? And don't forget I said that the numbers must be factor of the products. Must be factor of the product. Yes, anyone? Anyone dropping that? Okay, good. I can see someone dropping an answer, and that answer seems to be correct. Okay, so we have positive 9, negative 8. So I want to believe others also know that. Probably you are still typing. All right, so now when you look at these two numbers, when you multiply this and this together, you have negative 72. Okay, so now and when you add together, you have positive 1. Positive 1. So that means this term here will be written in form of positive 9x, negative 8x. All right, so we now have this equation turns to 2x squared plus 9x, negative 8x, negative 36 equals to 0. All right, so now what's the next thing? We find the GCD of the first two terms here. Look at this. What is the GCD? The greatest common divisor in these two terms, that is x. All right, so and let's bring that out. So, and when you divide this by x, you have 2x. Divide this by x, you have plus. All right, so now let's look at this now. So what is the GCD here? That's going to give you negative 4. Negative 4. Negative 4. So when you divide this by negative 4, you have 2x. When you divide this by negative 4, you have plus 9 equals to 0. All right. So now you can factor out 2x plus 9. So we have 2x plus 9. We are left with what? X minus 4 equals to 0. So now we have two numbers multiplying each other to have 0. So you see that this is 0 or this is 0 or the two are 0. So we have either x plus 9 is 0 or x negative 4 is 0. So here we can have 2x equals to negative 9 or x equals to 4. Okay, when you subtract, you had 4 to both sides. So this is what you have. You subtract 9 from both sides, you have this. So you have x equals to negative 9 over 2 or x equals to 4. All right, so these are values of x. All right, so but don't forget, the question says find the value of x. And the question has helped us to let us know that we have one value of x. Now, the one value of x in this case now is going to be the positive answer. All right. Now, the reason we have to consider this one now, if you look at the length and the breadth. So if I plug in a negative number here, all right, if I plug in negative 9 over 2, now what I will have here now is going to give me a negative answer. And that is going to be for the breadth. And it's wrong for you to say a distance is negative. You cannot measure a distance and you have a value of negative. must be positive, so it's an absolute value. All right. So that makes this not to be the value of x, so it's an extraneous solution. Okay, so the answer is going to be what? X equals to 4. So that's the answer to that problem. So I hope you all understand that. All right. So any comment based on what we just did now? So if you have any comment, an observation, so you can raise that in the comment section, and I will quickly attend to that. So let's look at another interesting question. Okay. Okay, this is another question. So I want us to look at this question carefully, and let's see how we are expected to solve this problem. All right. Okay. Now let's look at the question on the board. Let's look at that question. Now we have the length of a rectangle is increased by 20% and the breadth is decreased by 20%. Now find the percentage change in the area. So now before I do this, now I'm going to bring out this argument. So now if I say I have a loaf of bread, one loaf of bread, I have 100% of a loaf of bread. Okay, so that is 100% of it. I have 100% of a loaf of bread. That means that I just have one. Do you understand? Okay, or I say I have two, let's say 2 loaf of breads. If I have 2 loaf of breads, I say, okay, the 2 loaf of breads I have, I just have 100% of it. So 100% of it is the same thing as 2 loaf of bread, because 100% is the same thing as 100 over 100, and that gives you 1. So that means we have 1 times 2, and that gives us 2. Or what if I say I have 50% of 2 loaves of bread? So what's it going to be now? So suppose this is now 50. You know, I have reduced it by 50. So, and this one gives me what? That will give me 1 loaf of bread. See, we have 2 times 50 over 100. All right. So now 50 goes there 1, 50 goes there 2. So 2 goes there 1, 2 goes there 1. We have 1 times 1. That's 1 loaf of bread. So 50% of 2 loaves of bread is 1. Do you understand that? So now, anytime you have anything and then okay, and you say, okay, that thing is reduced by 20%. So that means, ordinarily that thing is 100%. So if it is reduced by 50% or 20%, so we just say, okay, that thing, let's say that thing is X. If it reduced by 20%, so that means that thing will be X of 80 over 100. Instead of us having 100, that's 100 divided by 100, that's 1. So now it has reduced by 20%. So instead of this one to be 100, so we have 80. So also, if I say it is increased by 20%, so that means instead of me having 100, so that's going to be 120 over 100 because I've increased it by what? By 20. I hope you understand that concept. So that is what we're going to use to solve this problem. Okay, so let's see how to solve this one. Now, the length of a rectangle is increased by 20%. So I will start by saying, let the length be capital letter L. The length of a rectangle be this, and let the breadth, okay, let the breadth be equals to capital letter B. All right. So now, the question now says that the length of a rectangle is increased by 20%. So that means that we have a new length that is increased by 20%. That means this L now has been increased. So let's represent that with small, let's say L1. Okay, the new length. So that's going to give us 120 over 100 of this length. Okay, so this is the new length because this length has been increased by 20. So, and this is what we have. So 120 over 100 of this. So we can simply write L1 equals to, so if you simplify this, 0 cancels 0. So we have 12L over 10. So the new length is this. And let's look at the new breadth. You can represent that with B1. So now let's move on. And the breadth is decreased by 20%. You know what will happen? So we have 80 over 100 of B. Okay, because it has been decreased by 20%. So now we have B1, that is the new breadth, will be what? 8 over 10, because this will cancel this B. So we can simply write 8B over 10. All right. So now the question now is asking for the percentage change in area. Percentage change in area. So now let me get the area in the new length and new breadth. Okay. So don't forget, formula for finding area of a rectangle, area is length times breadth. Okay. So in this case now it's going to be L1 times B1. Okay. So we have area is L1 times B1. So area will be, what is L1? So we have 12L over 10 times 8B over 10. So when you multiply this, what do you have? Okay, so now we have 96 BL, okay, 12 times 8, 96. L times B, we have LB over 100. Okay, so I can simply write this one as 96 over 100 LB. Now, and don't forget, this one LB, area, initial area. You know, this one is the main length and this is the main breadth. So the area of this is length times breadth. All right. So now let's call this one area 1. Let's call it A1. And this one is the normal A. Do you understand now? So now what this one turns to now is going to be what? A1 will be equals to, now see what we have here now. We have 96 over 100 A, because this is area. Do you understand that? So now what happened? We are supposed to have 100%, that is 100 over 100. So it has been reduced by what? By 4%. So, and that is what the question is asking for. Find the percentage change in the area. So we now write that the percentage change in area is 4% decrease. Okay, 4% decrease. So that is the answer to the problem. So I hope you all understand that. So any question based on what we have done? Any observation? So if you have any observation, any question, so you can drop that in the comment section. Let me attend to that. Okay. Any question, any observation? So if you have any observation, let me know. All right. So if there's no question, so let me move to the next thing of today. All right. Yes, let's look at this question. The perimeter of a rectangle is 64 centimeter and its area is 240 centimeter square. Find the length and the breadth. Okay, can we all see the question? All right. So, how do you solve this problem? Now, the perimeter of a rectangle is 64 centimeter and its area is 240. We have to find the length and the breadth. So how do we do this? Now the first thing is to bring out the formula for finding perimeter of a rectangle. And that is what? We have perimeter P equals to 2 times length plus breadth. Okay, so in this case now we have been given the perimeter to be what? To be 64. So we have 64 equals to 2 times L plus B. So we can simplify this. We divide both sides by 2. So we have 64 over 2 equals to L plus B. Okay, so now this one gives you 32 equals to L plus B. So let's call this equation 1. Another information we have here is the area of the rectangle. Area of the rectangle is 240. So we have, what's the formula for finding area of a rectangle? That's length times breadth. So I have area equals to length times breadth. I hope you still remember that. So area is given to be 240 equals to length times breadth. So you call this one equation 2. And now from this equation, you can make L to be the subject of the formula. So we have L equals to 32 minus P. Can you see that now? So now you plug in this value into equation 2. So insert into 2. So when you insert into 2, what do you have? We have 240 equals to, this is L. So where we have L, you just put 32 minus B, and you have a B here. Okay, so can we open the bracket now? So we have 240 equals to 32b negative b squared. Okay, so now let's try and rearrange. So we have b squared. So we transpose this. Let's transpose this to this side. We have negative 32b, and this is plus 240 equals to 0. Again, we have a quadratic equation. So we identify the sum and product. Okay, can you tell me now the sum and the product of this quadratic equation? The sum and product. So let's quickly do that. So once you have your answer, you drop that in the comment section. So I'm going to check later. So what is the sum? The sum, okay, I hope you are already typing that before I write it on the board. Okay, so the sum is negative 32. And what of the product? The product is 240. Okay, can you see that now? Okay, so now what are we doing with this? We need two numbers such that when you multiply together, you have 240, and when you add together, you have negative 32. So what are the two numbers? Okay, so now what if you look at we have 20 and we have 12. So I want to have a negative. Now, why didn't I just put this negative? So look at it. So when you add this and this together, negative 20, negative 12, I have negative 32. But when you multiply this and this together, you know 2 times 12, that is 24. So we have 0 there, so we have 240. Okay, so that means we have the number. So this equation turns to b squared negative 20b negative 12b plus 240 equals to 0. So here you can factor out b. So we have b minus 20. You can factor out 12 here, negative 12. Okay, so we have b minus 20. Don't forget the sign has to change here because you factor out a negative number. So this sign will change to negative. And in most cases, if you are doing the right thing, what you have in this bracket here and here must always be the same thing. Okay, so now I have b minus 20, b minus 12 equals to 0. Okay, so can you see? So what's the next thing? And let's move on here. So we have two numbers multiplying each other. We have b minus 20 equals to 0 or b minus 12 equals to 0. Right? So that means b equals to 20 centimeter or B equals to 12 centimeter. Okay, so now let us now see. The question asks us to find the length and the breadth. So now which one is going to be the length? Which one will be the breadth? Now don't forget what we have here. When you add the length and the breadth together, you have 32. Okay, so if the length is 20, what is going to be the breadth? So let us make use of this one. Let's use this equation. Let's assume when B is 20, let's assume that when B is 20, L will be what? 32 minus 20. So that means L is going to be what? That's 12. Can you see? Is there any sense in this? No. That is what many students will want to do, because your breadth must not be longer than the breadth. So that means that the breadth cannot be what? 20. So the breadth is 12. Okay, so now, so what you are going to do here now is you say, okay, breadth, to conclude, the breadth is 12 centimeter, while the length, which is your L here, is going to be what? 32 minus 12. And that gives you what? 20 centimeters. So these are the answers. We have this and this. All right. So I hope you all understand this. So that's how to solve the problem. All right. So we are going to be stopping here. So I want to believe you guys learn one or two things. And once again, I need to welcome those of you that are joining us for the first time. If today is the first time you are joining, you are especially welcome. Don't forget to subscribe and tap the notification button so that you'll be notified anytime I'm on here. All right. And don't forget, before you leave everyone, make sure you tap the like button if you actually enjoy the class. All right. So thank you very much. So I love you guys. Bye-bye.